We were talking during the break about how fast this has escalated. Remember, it was just a few weeks ago that the story broke with the AP, and they said, that's nothing to worry about. It was just, it was 20 phones. Okay, it was 20 phones. But that's it. We're just listening to 20 phones. And I don't know how it happened. I don't know who authorized this. I certainly wasn't involved, but we believe in the freedom of speech and privacy. We believe in the constitutional right to privacy. Okay. That was 4 weeks ago. We told you that's not, the AP is not the only one. It's not the only one. They've admitted this. They said that they were listening to certain members of the press 3 years ago when you wouldn't listen to us. So it's not just the AP conspiracy theory. What do we find out? A week later, it's also Fox. But it's just James Rosen. Then we find out it's James Rosen's mother. It's not just his phones, it's the emails. And it's not just James Rosen. It's several people at Fox. Yes, but it only goes because that was a national security thing. And we don't know who okayed that. That was just for national security. That's all that was. So we're just trying to find out. There's two things here. These are just for national security. Wait, guys, it goes beyond national security, and it's not just the press. It is you as well. The press reports conspiracy theory. That's not true. As they are cutting the ribbon on the Utah Data Collection Center for the NSA. Has anybody seen that really reported this week? Is anybody seriously on Fox, on CNN, on MSNBC? Is anyone reporting the data center that just opened up 2 weeks ago? I've yet to see anybody tie that one in.
And we've been told, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but somebody who lives there told us that that's not just surface area, and it's 1 million square feet surface. They said it goes deep underground, and there's much, much more to that.
Okay, so when we're saying it goes deeper than that, it goes to all of your records. They say, no, it's not. That's a conspiracy theory. Then we find out about Verizon. It's more than just Verizon. That's ridiculous. Now we find out that it's all carriers, that it's everybody, that they can listen to your phone, your email, video, all Facebook, Twitter, all chat rooms, IP, everything, and it's being collected. Now, that's happened in the last 4 weeks, and they've denied it every step of the way, and the press has played footsie every step of the way. Thank God for The Guardian, quite honestly.
Never thought we'd say that a few years ago.
No. But you know what?
Not a friendly publication.
No, but, you know, there's people making a big deal out that Michael Moore and I agree on something. Well, what have I been saying for a while? There is one place that all Americans should come to agree on. Now, I don't think Michael Moore is a decent human being. So I think he's just ramping things up because I think he's a chaos guy. And there will be a lot of people that will want that chaos. I don't think he's not a friend of mine. He's not a friend of your liberty. But here's where people will join. And people that are from all across the spectrum. And that is freedom, liberty, the constitutional protections. If we can't get together on the constitutional protections, then there is truly nothing left. There is nothing left for us to be able to come together on. We have to be able to say, you know, you should not be able to get my stuff without a warrant. You should not be able just to, I have a reasonable right to privacy. You can't just arrest me. You can't scoop me up. You can't kill me without a trial. You can't silence my speech. All of these things are being destroyed. And this is the opportunity, America. If we handle ourselves differently, if we base ourselves on civil rights, I have a right to be left alone. I have a right to have private conversations. I mean, the president has what's called executive, I can think of as executive power. What do they call it when he says that's you can't go in there, you can't look at those records? Executive privilege. He has executive privilege. You don't have executive privilege. He says, I have to have executive privilege because there are things that I'm going to say in my own private life and my own business dealings here where I have to have advisors who think out of the box. You don't get that. He does. If anybody in your life comes into your life and has a phone conversation or an email and without executive privilege says crazy stuff, that can be held against you now. Have you ever met with somebody? Have you ever done business with anybody? Have you ever brainstormed with anybody? Have you been to any group, Tea Party, Occupy Wall Street, where you were in Occupy Wall Street and you're like, hey, you know what? I think these guys are rapists and they're trying to blow up the bridge in Cincinnati. I'm out of here. Well, you're never really out of there now. Doesn't matter. They can collect enough information, and they have collected all of the information. They know where you have been. GPS tracking through your phone. They know exactly where you've been at what time. They know what you have purchased in those days. They know what you have watched. They know everything about you. And now they want with Common Core to do it to our kids. They want even more with our children. Enough is enough. No. There's a story out that came out this weekend from a DHS insider, and it was written about in Canada. And this insider came to a Canadian journalist. He said, if anybody thinks on what's going on right now with all this surveillance of American citizens is to fight some foreign enemy, they're delusional. If people think this scandal can't get any worse, it will, hour by hour, day by day. This has the ability to bring down our national leadership, the administration, and other senior elected officials working in collusion with the administration, both Republican and Democrats. That's why you're going to see the John McCains and the Lindsey Grahams and everybody else. They are involved in this. People within the NSA, the Department of Justice, and others, they know who they are, and they need to come forth with the documentation of policy and practice in their possession. Disclose what they know. Fight what's going on and just do their jobs. I've never seen anything like this ever. This president administration is going after leakers, media sources, anyone and everyone, and is suspecting them of, quote, betrayal. That's what they're calling it now. Betrayal, he says. Can you imagine the size of their cojones? The administration considers anyone telling the truth about Benghazi, the IRS, or hell, you name the issue, betrayal. Okay. The reporter says, I know all of this already. You don't know jack. This is bigger than you imagine, bigger than anyone can imagine. This administration is collecting names of sources, whistleblowers, and their families, names of media sources, and everybody they talk to or have talked to. They have already a huge list. If you're not working for MSNBC or CNN, you're probably on that list. If you're a website owner with a brisk readership and a conservative bent, you're on that list. It's political dissent list, not an enemy threat list. That's exactly what I mean by saying being on that list. It means there will be censorship under the color of authority of anyone in the U.S. who is attempting to expose what's going on in our name. It's about controlling any damning information that is reaching epidemic proportions, damage control to the extreme. It's about the upcoming censorship of the internet in the name of national security. The plans are already in place. These latest reports about spying eyes have turned this administration and others connected to it into something very, very dangerous. They feel cornered and threatened. I am hearing about the same plans they have to shut down the flow of information that is impacting them or implicating them of wrongdoing. Time is short. First, they intend to use the Justice Department to silence journalists like the Rosen case, but they won't stop there. They will use a host of national security policies, laws, letters, whatever it takes to take out the biggest threats. Next, they will use some sort of an excuse, an external threat. And I believe it will be the combination of an economic collapse and a Mideast war that will begin in Syria to throttle the information that is accessible on the internet. And you know what? People will believe it. Based on what I've seen, most of which I have not seen, the DHS is coordinating efforts with other federal agencies to begin to threaten American citizens with incarceration for non-compliance. You know the old talk of color-coded lists? Well, this is what they'll be using. People exposing the truth about Benghazi, killing the U.S. dollar, even those questioning the president. His legal status and eligibility to be president would be a target. They've had 5 long years to get to this point. The ugly truth is these policies and practice did not start under this president, but long before. This is about killing our constitutional republic, the murder of our country, and the stripping of our rights. While many have been preoccupied with one issue, few have seen the bigger issue. This is the end game. This is for all the marbles. Now, this is a story coming out from an unnamed source in a Canadian newspaper. I will tell you this. I found that and I sent that immediately to my global information desk in New York. And this is the response I have. Glenn, I can't tell you about this source or this story, but I can tell you this. 1, our sources have been increasingly afraid and have insisted in some cases on similar clandestine arrangements to deliver information. I've already told you that we have had people that have passed us. They have told us to meet someplace in the middle of, a mall or a park. And we are not to recognize anything. We're supposed to stand there and stand by a garbage can. Somebody will come. They will drop something right in the top of the garbage. And one of these meetings, they were bumped by this source. And all they said was, that can get me killed. What was it? That could get me killed. Something like, keep me protected. This is spy stuff. This is spy novel stuff. This is stuff that doesn't happen. This is not normal. 2, they have avoided all email, cell phones from the get-go, and that is becoming even more the case of late. They have reported, and this is really important, they have reported increased security and scrutiny on their jobs, along with warnings of what happens, and this is in quotes, to those that commit treason, end quote. If our administration is telling people in government agencies, you better be aware of what happens to those who commit treason, that is execution, so you know. We now have a government threatening execution for those people who might be whistleblowers. 3, they are uniformly panicked, and they feel what info they have has got to get to the broadcast, get out to be broadcast to the broadest possible group as quickly as possible. They are growing very frustrated by the lack of response from the American people and are becoming increasingly bold. See The Guardian and WAPO leaks. They have a fear that they are about to be shut down. 4, many know far more than they have shared, and they are trying to figure out ways, as are we, to insulate them so the information can be revealed. I have asked you for your prayers. I have asked you to support our organization. I will tell you, as I told you last hour, because of just the IRS, people do not want to do business. In some cases, don't want to do business with us. And these are people that I have always thought were patriots, but they have said, I don't want any trouble. That's going to get more. I mean, if it's hard now, guys, it's only going to get worse. You're not ready. We work with people on a daily basis who mean it. Unfortunately, I do. My life, my fortune, and my sacred honor. It is not something that I have ever seriously thought I would ever be asked to give. But in the last 6 years, I've had to make a decision. My life, my fortune, and my sacred honor. I will not be part of whatever it is we're creating. It won't be built in my name. I will not be eternally damned for playing any role in the loss of man's freedom. I won't. I want my name clearly on the record books, the eternal record books, as someone who stood. I will give my children, probably damn my children, in some regard, short term. But I will give my children and their children the opportunity to be proud that my grandfather never picked up a gun. My grandfather always preached peace. My grandfather stood. My grandfather started speaking out as soon as he figured it out. And he never sat down against all the odds. And I work with people in this building and in New York that do the same thing every day. And we have whistleblowers that are doing the same. But we need your help. You're going to watch the news coverage of this. You're going to get the same kind of coverage. They'll be on this for a while and then they will back off. And no one's really going to stand. I was shocked today when I heard guests on Fox talking about how this is treason. And they were actually talking about execution. And those on the curvy couch were kind of okay with it. Are you kidding me? Those who have committed treason are the ones who built this in our name and lied to us the whole time, saying that it would never be used against us. That's the ones who have betrayed us. Be careful with the word treason. It carries the death penalty. And I think the only time that that's ever happened was with the Rosenbergs.
Yeah, when was the last time? Might have been them.
I think it was the Rosenbergs.